Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Beth Gillespie, and I'm the Council Director of Girls on the Run East Central Illinois. Thank you for choosing my session to come to this afternoon. I want to get started. I found a video just last week that I thought was very relevant to what we're talking about today. So we'll start with that.
A house built out of stone, wooden floors, walls, and window sills, tables and chairs worn by all of the dust. This is a place where I don't feel alone. This is a place where I feel at home. By the cracks of his skin, I climb to the dawn. I climb the tree to see the world. When the gods came around to blow me down, held on as tightly as you held on me. Held on as tightly as you held on.
I had two thoughts when I first saw this video. The first one was how incredibly brave I think that boy is, and that we need more kids like him. And the second one, that when he asked the question, what can we do to make our world a better place? I instantly thought Girls on the Run is making our world a better place. So I wanted to tell you a little bit, and I'm sure you've heard tons of statistics today, so I don't want to spend too much time on those, but some of the things that I found when I was doing research for today was that the CDC shares that 56% of students have personally felt some sort of bullying at school, that it typically starts about fourth grade, in the 8th grade in particular, which means that by the time they graduate from high school, 90% of our students have experienced bullying in some form or another. The most common reason cited for being harassed is a student's appearance or body size, which is one of the things that we talk a great deal about in Girls on the Run, and struck a chord with me because 6 out of 10 girls stop doing things that they love because they feel bad about how they look. 6 out of 10 girls say, I can't do this thing that brings me joy or gives me pride in myself because of how I look, and I think that that is an awful thing. And locally, the I Sing the Body Electric report asks questions for teenagers across the 5 counties that Girls on the Run has sites in, and 6 out of 10 local girls report actively trying to control their weight using unhealthy methods, including starvation for periods of 24 hours or more, strict calorie reductions, and they also report that over 26% of local teen females report being bullied while they're on school property, and those are statistics for our girls here in our communities. Physical bullying peaks typically in middle school and declines in high school, but verbal abuse rates remain constant and are the most common form of bullying, as I'm sure you've heard that today. And then from a national perspective, 28% of students in grades 6 through 12 experience being bullied. So this is clearly happening in all of our schools and all of our communities, and unfortunately to too many kids. So there were a couple reasons that people become a bully. Cultural causes is the first one, and that is because we are a culture that's fascinated with winning, power, and violence. And some examples of this I was thinking is like the WWF. You know, these kids grow up idolizing these people who are physically attacking and abusing somebody else for entertainment. I also think of things like the Jersey Shore. You know, those people are not being nice to themselves or to others, and they get a TV show, and millions of people watch that. Social issues. We are a society where people get more attention for negative behavior than they do for positive. Again, reality TV is a great example of that. And what the research shows is that acting out is you're more likely to get noticed than someone who's behaving civilly or courteously. Again, that's an unfortunate thing. One of the recent large-scale studies found that children who bullied did so because they wanted to increase their popularity, and they intentionally found other people to bully that were unpopular so that it could increase their popularity that much more quickly. Family situations. The research shows that families in which feelings are not shared are more likely to have children who bully either from within the family home or in other locations, so at school or clubs or groups that they're with, and that another home environment that's prone to producing bullies is one in which discipline and monitoring are inconsistent, or a punitive atmosphere is how the family handles situations. And the fourth reason is personal history. Children who experience social rejections themselves are more likely to pass it on to others, and children who experience academic failure are more likely to bully others as well, which I thought was an interesting piece. So what forms bullying takes? Obviously, verbal forms, that is the most common. It takes physical forms, and then also electronic or technology-based, whether it's text messaging or social media. And when I was doing research to get Girls on the Run started here, I reached out to the local police departments to find out what was going on from a crime perspective, and they shared that they are seeing an increased incidence of sexting, which is sexual texting, as early as elementary school, that they've had enough incidences in 4th and 5th grade with kids. So it is happening, it's happening here, and it was terrifying. I didn't know how to respond when he shared that with me. So the long-term impact, there are mental health issues for both the bully and the one who's doing the bullying and the bullied victim. The victims are at increased risk for mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, headaches, stomach aches, feelings of unhappiness, and academic problems. They're more likely to have the kind of illnesses that you can't pinpoint, things like the headache and the sore throat, as reasons to stay home and avoid getting into that situation. And bullies are at risk for serious violence later in adolescence, more likely to drop out of school, substance abuse, and again, dating violence, either once they're out of high school. So, Girls on the Run, a little bit lighter topic. Has anybody here heard about Girls on the Run? I love it. It's working. Girls on the Run is an after-school education and empowerment program that has girls in grades 3 to 5 and 6 to 8 meet twice a week with a volunteer coach. And they go through structured lessons that have topics that include health, fitness, how women are portrayed in the media, how to still have a positive body image. We talk about celebrating gratitude, getting plugged into your true values, the impact of gossip, how to handle bullies, and how to make a difference in your community. And while the girls are going through these structured after-school lessons, they're also training to run a 5K. Because what we want the girls to know is that they can set a goal that feels impossible, they can work towards it, and then they can successfully complete it at the end of the program so that they can cross the finish line and say, if I can do this, then I can do anything I set my mind to. And how critical that is, that knowledge is, and that self-awareness is for any person, but especially for girls aged 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 in our society today. The culminating event of Girls on the Run is the Girls on the Run 5K, and that's where all of the girls come together and they complete a celebration 5K as a group. So I'll tell you a little bit about our history. Girls on the Run here in East Central Illinois, we've only been around for just over a year. We had our very first season last fall with 15 girls. We had one site, which is a group of coaches and girls in Mattoon at the Y. We had our second season this past spring, and we had 4 sites, one here in Charleston, 2 in Mattoon, and 1 in Sullivan, and we had 57 girls. And I am overwhelmed to share that we have 204 girls in our program this fall across 5 counties here in East Central Illinois. So the Girls on the Run 5K is going to be an incredible event. We will have all 204 girls. We will have their 57 volunteer coaches. It is an event that's open to the community, and the girls, we encourage someone from their family or from their circle to be their running buddy that day to run with them. So I anticipate it will be a huge event this fall, but it is, the power of the program is undeniable when you are there. You literally see the girls learning that they have so much more power and so much more ability as they cross that finish line, and it is an incredible thing to witness. So our mission at Girls on the Run is to provide life-changing, high-quality programs for girls, to provide life-changing and high-quality experiences to the adults that are delivering the program. Apparently I'm going to be that presenter. To promote and provide an environment that allows girls and women to reach their full potential and to positively transform how girls and women perceive themselves and their place in our society. What I believe this program is doing is changing the next generation of women to be strong, to be confident, to make the best decisions they can for themselves, for their communities, and I expect that we will have a different nation in 10 years when this generation of girls is 18 and has a voice and is able to vote and collectively speak up. Girls on the Run was founded in 1996. A middle school chemistry teacher by the name of Molly Barker noticed that her girls, when they left in 8th grade, were completely different than the girls she got in 6th grade, that they were self-selecting out of after-school activities and sports. They were literally going from the front of the classroom to the back. They weren't participating in classroom discussions, and that their grades were dropping significantly. So she started to do research on resiliency in females, in young children, female children, and she also started to do a lot of research about social pressure and what happens to self-confidence in young girls. And so she realized, the vocabulary of Girls on the Run, as we call that, somewhere in middle school, girls start going into their girl box, which is where they start making decisions based on what they think they need to do to be popular, to get a boyfriend, to be liked. And so it could be anything from, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, and making decisions to try to appease that inner voice. And so she came up with Girls on the Run to get girls, give them the tools and the confidence so that they don't go into that girl box and then spend however long there. So she had her very first season in 1997. She had 13 girls participate that fall. There are now over 200 councils like ours across the United States and Canada, and last year alone there were over 108,000 girls who went through the program. So we are one small part of this movement that's happening nationally, and like I said, what I believe we're doing is changing the next generation of women, which I think is a pretty amazing thing. So how do we address gossip and bullying? We have a curriculum at Girls on the Run. And all of our volunteer coaches are given this curriculum so that we can ensure that every single girl who goes through the program at every site that we have, everybody gets the same program. It isn't saying to somebody like, hey, we want you to talk about how women are portrayed in the media today. Good luck, let us know how it goes. This curriculum is set up for success. When I coached for the first time last fall, I literally was terrified because I hadn't spent time with 10-year-olds since I was a camp counselor at 18, and not to date myself, but I kept thinking, like, they don't read Nancy Drew or Sweet Valley High anymore. Like, not really sure what I'm talking to them about. But it says literally, have the girls sit in a circle on the ground, take a moment to introduce yourself and say to the girls, my name is blank, and I want to tell you how excited I am to be here at Girls on the Run today. So this curriculum ensures that every single girl is getting the same program. And because our program is 16 years old, we have research to show that this delivery works and that we do have a short-term and a long-term impact on the girls that are going through the program. The other focus of the lessons that we go through is the first one is about self-awareness and confidence, so that the girls are learning to honor who they are, that, appreciate the gifts that they have, understanding that everybody's different, but to be able to celebrate themselves. The second set of lessons focuses on building a team with these girls and their coaches. And then the last part of the lessons are focused on how do we together make a difference in our community, so that the girls actually select a community service project that they want to do and they implement it before Girls on the Run is done. So those three focuses combined with the 5K are what make Girls on the Run different than other education and empowerment programs that we have. And each lesson builds on one another. We can't go from the first lesson, which is getting to know each other, to lesson 5, fueling our healthy pace, without the other lessons in between. And so part of the power of it is that each lesson is very intentional on what we want the girls to walk away with, so that they're ready and open the next time that they meet with their coaches. One of the other things that we do is that we teach the girls and give them the tools on how to handle situations like gossip and bullying. And we'll go through one of the lessons or a piece of it at the end so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But it really is an incredible program. And the girls start changing from the very first time that we meet. The fourth lesson, which is one of my favorites, is about negative self-talk. And so we introduce this concept, and what is it? What is negative self-talk? Okay, so it's when somebody says mean things about themselves, their body, their intelligence, another person, another woman. Okay, so we understand the concept. Who in your life does that? Is it your mom? Is it your friends? Is it you? And then the activity that day, or the workout, because the theme, the lesson topic, is carried throughout the entire 90 minutes. So it isn't just let's talk about this and go run laps. Because it's that combination of the conversation with the physical activity that makes the program sink in. So that workout that day is they run a lap and then they get a positive affirmation. So you're intelligent, you're an athlete, you're a runner, you're incredible. And they would have to own that and then go run another lap. And I said to this little girl who was 9 at the time, I said, you're worthwhile. And I saw her standing on the track and she was processing it and figuring out, what does this mean and how does this apply to me? And I looked at her and I literally watched it sink in, and she looked back at me and said, Coach Beth, I am worthwhile. And it was like nobody had ever said that to her, and she never thought that about herself. And I thought in that instance, if you hang on to that for the next 8 years, we could just have changed the entire trajectory of your life. And I, of course, started crying, and she took off sprinting, and then the next little girl was like, why are you crying, Coach Beth? And I'm like, I'm good, we're rolling with it. But the program starts working right away, and so that by the time we get to the tail end of the season where we bring up the gossip and the bullies, the girls are ready and open to hear it and can take it back and make changes in their lives. So gossiping hurts everybody is lesson 13. So it is on the tail end of our 20 weeks. And the learning goals for that day are to learn that gossip obviously hurts both the person who the gossip is being spread about as well as the person who's spreading it, and how to stop the gossip. And so one of the big things we teach that day is the stop, breathe, listen, and respond method. So I need 2 volunteers. Meg? One other. Nothing scary, I promise. Awesome. I appreciate it. All right. So I would like you to squeeze out as little or as lot of the toothpaste that you would like. Okay. Don, if you want to take that and put it back in.
Back in. Right.
Back in the tube.
All right. hygiene. Not hygiene.
And the third lucky volunteer will get to take this toothpaste home. That's perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So clearly, it doesn't work very well. It doesn't really go back in. And this activity is exactly what we do with the girls. So this is what that lesson looks like. We'd say to the girls when they first get there. We've been talking a lot about choices we make with our actions and our attitudes. I'd like to show you something. Fast forward to the toothpaste. No matter how hard we try, we cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. This demonstration is a lot like communication. If we say something hurtful about another person, we cannot take it back no matter how hard we try. Just like the toothpaste, we couldn't put it back in once it came out of the tube. So let's think about this. Can anyone tell me of one behavior regarding communication that hurts everybody involved? This would be gossiping. Hey, that's exactly what we're trying to get at. So gossip is right. Who can tell me what gossip is? I promise there's no wrong answers here. Spreading rumors, that's a great one. What else? Lying about somebody else? Yep. Changing. Perfect. Talking about somebody's back. Anything else? Those are all perfect examples of gossip. So then we would go on and we'd start talking about why is gossiping not choosing to be a girl on the run, which goes back to the previous lessons where we're talking about choosing our attitude, being true to what's important to ourselves. A part of the power of lessons like this is that it sinks in with those girls. I can tell you, after we did this lesson, the girls start to help take care of and support each other so that if somebody says something that's not right, they'll be like, you can't put that back, it's like the toothpaste. So that they start supporting each other to build a community of people who are not falling trapped to behaviors like bullying and like gossip, but are taking care of each other. The other big thing that we, the lesson or the tool that we give them is the stop, breathe, listen, and respond. And this is where we help the girls give themselves a chance to listen to that inner voice that we all have when we feel like something isn't quite right, but we don't know how to respond to it. What that portion looks like is we would, let me find, stop, breathe, listen, and respond. Essentially, what this method does is it gives the girls a chance to stop when somebody says things to them like, oh, did you hear, Johnny was caught smoking cigarettes behind the gym, or Susie failed her math test, or do you want to go and have a beer with me later? Stop, breathe, take 3 deep breaths, listen to what that inner voice is telling you, and then respond appropriately. And so we do it, we start with easier topics. We don't start with that heavy stuff, but we do introduce the concept and how the girls can address and respond appropriately so that when they get into those situations where they're having to deal with gossip or bullies, that they already know how to respond and that they've practiced it and are ready to go so that they can make the best decisions for themselves. Our gossiping or bullying lesson is followed right after the beware, the gossiping hurts everyone is followed by the beware of bullies. And the learning goals for this one is to recognize bullying behaviors, learn what to do, or if you are bullied or if you're a witness to somebody being bullied, and then how to deal with that strategy. So for this particular lesson, we say things like, during our time together, we've talked a lot about choosing to be a girl on the run. Today we'll talk about a behavior that some people choose to do that has the potential to really hurt or endanger others. We will be talking about bullying. Who can tell me what bullying is? I'm sure you guys have heard maybe a little bit about what it is today. Anybody want to volunteer a definition? Yep, that's a great way. What else? Beating somebody up, yep. Verbal abuse, yep. Say that again. Yeah. What we work with the girls to get to is that bullying is an action that is intentionally done to hurt another person. These actions are hard to stand up to or defend oneself against. And we might think of a bully as someone bigger than us that might try to hit us or fight with us. There are quite a few kinds of behaviors that are also bullying, like calling people names or leaving people out. And then what we do is we get the girls into groups and we have them identify different actions that fall either under physical, social, or emotional, or verbal bullying so that they can start understanding how their actions or what's happening in their schools or on their playgrounds, how that falls into the bullying category. And then the warm-up and the workout that day are we give them situations and we have them practice how they would respond. So that role playing, as much as I fought my mom on doing things like this at the dinner table, it makes it so much easier if you're in that situation and you've already practiced how to say no to somebody who's saying things like, hey, let's go and make fun of Molly because she looks funny. That the girls already have the ability to say, I'm not comfortable doing that, I'll see you on the playground, so that they can get themselves out of that situation and diffuse it versus being a silent participant. So this curriculum, if anybody has questions or wants to look at it after, I brought it for you guys to see. So the Girls on the Run program, like I said, we are growing, we are changing the community, and I do have a video that highlights our 5K. It's not sad like the first one, but then I'll open it up to questions for Girls on the Run and see what you guys think.
My daughter and my wife are participating in Girls on the Run today in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and it looks like a really good event for them.
The New Balance Girls on the Run 5K is the culminating event of the Girls on the Run curriculum. So all of the girls have been participating for the last 12 weeks in a training program to get ready for today.
They've been working on it for months now. They train twice a week.
The training combines not only the preparation for the 5K, but also to truly celebrate who they are on the inside.
It's hard work, but when you finish, it feels good.
They're realizing that they can do something that they weren't sure they could. It's a great program to volunteer with. You can do that, and if you can do that, you can do anything.
That's very proud, especially as I'm used to. It's definitely good for the girls to get my confidence.
It's like a really big accomplishment.
By teaching girls at a young age that helps support their self-esteem, that will carry over into their life as they get older.
Hopefully by the time these girls are my age, they'll be at a place where they're very firm in their values and beliefs and feel confident in who they are.
Get involved because it's a very easy way to be part of the community, to help support a great cause.
The more people we can get involved in programs like these, the better off we're all going to be. I hope that people will go out, sign up to participate in the race near them, volunteer, or support their daughters. Get your kids in a program like this because the impacts are huge.
When they originally came on, we were serving less than 1,000 girls. And thanks to the support of New Balance, we will serve 50,000 girls.
By you encouraging these girls, you'll feel better, you'll run faster, you'll be happier.
Especially going into middle school and going into high school, it's something that they can look back on, that they set a goal, accomplish it, and put it into other areas of their life.
I just absolutely love the sense of accomplishment is just so overwhelming within them, and it just exudes. It's just awesome.
You're a runner for life now?
New Balance supports Girls on the Run and their efforts to create strong, healthy, confident young women. Get involved by volunteering today.
It's a perfect segue. Because because there are lots of ways to get involved with Girls on the Run. It can be something as simple as our 5K, which is going to be on Saturday, November 10th, which you all got a postcard in your bag. Our 5K is open for everybody in the community. We say any man, woman, or superhero who wants to come and join us is welcome to. We also need 200 volunteers the day of the 5K to help make sure that all of our participants are going the right way, that they're encouraged throughout the entire course, and that they don't have any incidences with vehicles. So it's a safety issue as well as a way to help make our 5Ks different. If you have more than a few hours to give, our coaches are people who actually facilitate the program, use the curriculum, and go through the program with the girls. It is roughly a 5-hour-a-week time commitment for a 10-week time frame, and they typically meet with the girls either on Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, right after school. So if they meet at a school, they can meet as early as 3:15, and if they don't meet at a school, then they meet around typically 4 to 5:30. But I can tell you that being a coach is one of the most incredible experiences. Like the moments with Deanna where she stood on the track and realized that she was worthwhile, those things happen every single time you meet with the girls. And you can watch them growing, you can watch them changing, and you watch them figure out that they are absolutely incredible as they are, and it is worth every second that you spend with them, and they're also hilarious. The very first lesson, the one where I was trying not to throw up before the girls got there, that day we're talking about, what do you have in common, what do you have different, and there's a relay involved, and so I said, who likes Justin Bieber? And the girls had to go and high five one of the other coaches, and all of the girls took off except for one, and she was 8. And I looked at her and she's like, I don't know what the big deal about Justin Bieber is. I am totally unimpressed with him. And I remember thinking, you're 8. How do you even know what it is to be totally unimpressed with him? But then I was like, I'm not going to tell her he's on my iPod. But there are moments like that every single time, and it is so incredible to be with those girls and to be changed by them. The number one thing that we hear is that people get involved because they want to create a different reality for the girls. They want to have them have a different experience than potentially they had or what they've witnessed. But nobody has any idea how much different they will be after spending time with those girls. Even myself, I thought I gave everything I had, and I still feel like I walked away the lucky one for getting to spend time 10 weeks with my 15 amazing girls last fall. So if you're interested in that, we obviously keep growing, and we need coaches. We need 3 to 4 coaches at every site. So if you're interested in that, I've got information up here about how to get in touch with me so we can get you on the list to see if coaching might work for our spring season. We also have our 5K committee, which is our group that dreams and plans up our Celebration 5K and how can we do things bigger and better than we did the last time. And that's roughly a 2-hour-a-month time commitment. We typically meet once a month. Obviously, the closer we get to the 5K, it is a little bit more of a time commitment. And the week of the 5K, we meet for 2 or 3 times. But it's a really fun way if you don't have the ability due to time or work commitments to be able to be a coach. We also need the support of local businesses. Girls on the Run does cost $100 to participate in, and obviously in a community like Coles County where the median family income is $35,000 a year, $100 is a lot of money. So we do offer full and partial scholarships to any family that requests it because we don't want money to be a way to keep a girl from being able to participate in this program. So out of our 204 girls, 57 of them needed scholarship support totaling just over $4,000. And so we need the support of our community to help sponsor us so that we never have to say no to a girl at all. So those are the big ways to get involved with us. Either come and run at the 5K, walk the 5K. I promise you will not be sorry. It is an incredible experience, and you'll get to witness the power of the Girls on the Run program happening right before your eyes. So with that, I would love to open it up to questions and see what I can answer for you. Yes?
For your 90 minutes,
it shifts throughout the entire, in the beginning, there's a lot more conversation than there is at the end of the season because we warm the girls up. Obviously we're training to run a 5K. So I think the first lesson, maybe we spend about 10 minutes doing the running activities, but we try to make it fun and so that it's more like a game. If you disguise running as a game, it's way more fun for everybody. And they'll do a lot more moving than they would if we were like, let's go and run 4 laps and we'll see you when you're done. So we do play a lot of games and give them to motivate them that way so that it is more fun versus just going out and running the lap. So like I said, the first day they'll run 10 minutes is the workout portion. This week I think they were working out or running, moving forward, we also say, because we want to encourage the girls. It doesn't have to be running. If they feel like walking, that's 100% fine as long as they're moving forward. If they feel like skipping, that's also fine as long as you're moving forward. Don't really encourage somersaulting because a lot of times you're outside. So, but this week I think they were working out for 30 or 35 minutes, and we're roughly halfway through the program. So out of the girls, the 15 girls, 2 or 3 of them will run the entire 5K. 2 or 3 will walk most of it, and the rest will do a combination of running and walking. So just so that we have the breakdown. And Meg had asked me before, she said, I'm not a runner, so I couldn't be a coach. You don't have to be a runner to be a coach, because the program gets everybody ready, including the coaches, to complete the 5K. And again, you do have those 2 or 3 who will run most of it, but the majority of the girls will do a combination of running and walking. And I promise that you could all do that alongside of them easily as well. So, but that's a great question. But it does vary throughout the 10 weeks. Yes? Yep, we do. We have a whole lesson that's talking about the food groups, what foods fall into that. The focus of that one is more just to be aware and to make healthy choices, but we are talking about healthy choices overall, so it isn't just food, but that is a big focus of that lesson. But we want them to understand, like doing things like drinking enough water or getting 8 hours of sleep a night or brushing your teeth. Those are as important as picking the right food groups when you're choosing your food. But yeah, we do talk about that. Great question. You had a question? That's a great question. And granted, this is our 3rd season, but we've had 50% of our girls from the first season come back to the 2nd season, and 50% of our girls, actually I think it was 53 or 54%, came back from season 2 to season 3. So there are 2 versions of the curriculum, and so we alternate from one version to the next. So while the focus is the same, the games are different, the conversation is slightly different, and you add that in with different coaches and a different group of girls, and it changes it enough so that it's still a lot of fun. And we actually have girls, I think 5 girls who have been in it all 3 seasons so far. And it's amazing to see how different they are the 3rd time around. Like they literally are more of leaders in the group versus just the participants. And it's incredible. So, but yeah, that's one of the ways we do that. And then also, so Girls on the Run is 3rd to 5th grade and then 6th to 8th. And the 6th to 8th grade component is a completely different curriculum, same topics, but they're geared towards that more mature audience so that girls could literally do this 3rd to 8th grade if they wanted to. But that's a great question. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we partnered with the Mattoon YMCA, and so we have their liability insurance that covers all of our sites. We do need an indoor space where the girls can sit on the ground in a circle and have the conversation, the beginning part of the meeting or the lesson. And we also need an indoor space where they could run if the weather is hard or rainy like today. So it doesn't have to be a perfect space, but like a gymnasium would be great. We do meet at like the Wesley Church, and if it's raining, then they just run through the hallways of the church. And we also, the 3rd piece is we want to be outside. It's way more fun for the girls. It's more fun for the coaches if you can get outside. So we need a safe space outside to run. But we've got locations at an armory, at churches, at schools, and we just find a way to make it work. But we are growing, so if there's a place, I would love to bring it to more communities and reach more girls. Obviously, that's the intent of the program. So, what other questions? Nothing? I know it's Friday afternoon. Yeah.
After an actual 5K,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw multiple things in your new face painting, and you had, so will you be doing all of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a happy hair station, and the celebration is free to anybody in the community, and the intent is if we could have activities for siblings or other family members to do while their girls are out on the course, then they're more likely to be there and then to cheer their girl on at the finish line. So the Happy Hair Station is the #1 most amazing thing to these girls. Basically, they just get pigtails with like colored hairspray and other fun hair embellishments, but they think it's the coolest thing ever. And the fact that we had glitter hairspray last spring, you'd think I was like, you just got $1 million. So we have the Happy Hair Station, we have the face painting, we had a dunk tank this spring, we have big girls GOTR letters that teams can take photos around or girls can take photos around. We had a photo, like Flashbox photo came so that they could take pictures with their family members or their friends and then go home with like that little photo strip. And we're gonna be doing that again. I, in the middle of the night, thought it'd be cool to have a gratitude garden because one of our lessons is celebrating gratitude. So if we could, find a way to create flowers and people could write in the center of the flower what they're grateful for and we could put them up. So we do stuff like that. We're gonna have a sign making station essentially so that family members can make signs to cheer people on for those that are out on the course. So we do a lot of activities like that that are family friendly, easy, but intentional along with the lessons of what we want the girls to take away from the 5K. And the other cool thing is that everybody who finishes gets a medal, which is an unusual thing at a 5K. But the girl our first season, we had one girl who essentially refused to run the whole time. Like she would walk backwards. She was pushing and shoving the whole way through the running portion of it. And I think it was a fear-based decision. She was terrified that she wasn't going to be able to do it. So she was trying to take control and control as much as she could. And she finished the 5K. She was the last one. And one of the things we do at Girls on the Run, because we don't want anybody to finish last, is we have the Wonder Woman or Wonder Team. As we have a group from here at EIU, that's the Women's Empowerment League, and they've made capes and have crazy outfits. And they start the 5K roughly 12 minutes after the 5K starts, and they go catch up with whoever's last, which is always a Girl on the Run girl. And they stay with her and they encourage her and give her great one-on-one attention and motivation. And then when they get to the finish line, the girl crosses first and then the Wonder Woman team crosses right behind her so that no girl ever finishes last. So this girl ended up being the last one. The Wonder Woman team was with her and she wore her medal to school for 3 days after the 5K. She was that proud. And she came back, she's moved out of town, so she's not gonna be doing it this time around, but she was the last one again this spring, and I think she was like, hey, I think those women are gonna be here again. I wanna spend more time with them, so. But we do have a lot of family-friendly activities for all kinds of age groups to help the girls celebrate their accomplishment. What other questions? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Yep. That would be awesome. Yeah. I love it. That's amazing. Yeah, no, that would be incredible. The other thing we do, because obviously the high school population can benefit, everybody is touched. And when you start thinking about the lessons of what we're trying to teach the girls, it forces you to start reflecting on what are your behaviors, what are your attitudes towards yourself, towards others. But we have junior coaches, 2 of them this season that are both in high school that are coming, and the girls think they're the coolest because they're not grown-ups, but they're older and obviously just much cooler. So, but we have the 2 high school girls, so that could be something too. Or obviously, if you wanted to be in the program, for Girls on Track is the 6th to 8th grade component too. But yeah, we'd love to have her at the 5K. If you want to send her with the Wonder Woman team, we could always do that. See if they could make an extra cape for her. So, could be something fun. Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was there was something when I was growing up that I did really nice. And I was wanting for coaches, like the first ever suggested email.
If you send me an email, it's on my to-do list to start. We're working on finalizing the days and the times for our spring sites. And once we have that, then I can start sending out applications rather than just, would you like to coach? And good luck, we'll figure it out. But we do a coach's training for people. That'll be the end of January. It's roughly a 5-hour training. And then we get things rolling from there. But yes, the first step would be to email me and I'll get you on my list and we can get things rolling. And like you, I am a late blooming distance runner. I started running accidentally in 2006. And it changed, yeah, like for real. That's a long story. But running changed everything for me. It changed my body, it changed what I expected from myself, it changed what I wanted. And so after 2 significant deaths in my family, when I started questioning how was I making a difference in my community, I started looking for what turned out to be Girls on the Run. And when I found it, I thought, God, if this program had been around when I was 10, it could have saved me 20 years of angst before I started to figure this stuff out on my own. So everything about this program resonates with me and just fits. So I am beyond happy and grateful that I get to be a small part of it. What other? We'll definitely be here in Charleston again. I think depending on we'll at least have one site at Jefferson and one site at the Wesley Church, the Methodist Church just right off on 4th Street. We've got 5 sites currently in Mattoon, and I think we'll have 4 or 5 in the spring there, but we'll continue to be in the outlying cities as well. Are you looking for like that level of detail? Okay. Okay, we'll have at least one site in Effingham. We're in Bethany, Tuscola. I expect we'll be in Arcola. We are in Arthur, Sullivan, and there's one more, Windsor. I was like, hang on, it's out there. And we've had conversation, Angie, if you want to come pull your stuff up, you're totally good. We have had people reach out. Strasburg has reached out, Vandalia has reached out. I actually am meeting with people on Monday. 10 separate women from the greater Champaign area have reached out about going and wanting to start Girls on the Run up there. So Champaign I expect will happen next fall, but Philo, I have 2 teachers from Philo have reached out and said that they want to bring it there. So what I need when I go to a new community, because I am newer to Charleston, I've been here less than 2 years, I need somebody in the community who can help me lock in that site and who knows the people to say, here's the principal we need to talk to, or here's the pastor of the church, and then who also knows individuals in the community so we can help find those coaches. Because it's, this work is not work that can be done individually, so it really takes the power of a community to make it happen. But once we find that person, then we just roll with it and we start changing lives. What else? Anything else I can answer for you? Well, the one last thing that I would like to do is going to take some participation. At Girls on the Run, we do energy awards. So when we want to celebrate or recognize people for doing good things, like coming to my presentation, we do things like energy awards. So one of the favorites of the girls is the superstar. So I'll show you what it looks like, and then we can all do it together. So we count it down. So 3, 2, 1, superstar! All right, so everybody stand up. Oh, yeah, that's next, Angie. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, superstar! Nice job. Thank you very much for coming, and have a great rest of your day.